Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Welcome aboard all the early risers in the house. We had starting and bringing up the top was ABQ El Señor Michael Rudnin with Brooklyn, New York, from Brooklyn, New York. We also have Patrick Magner, who says meow. He is from Houston, Texas. We also have in the house Edward Peña. Hola, hola, me dice Eduardo Peña. ¿Cómo estás, hermano? We also have Skoy Troll 56. Really live or restream? It is live. For those who don't know, our live shows are 6 a.m. Central and 3 p.m. Central. So if you want to watch us live, that is when we are live. The other times are generally restream. But again, we're live. Welcome aboard. Let's see. We got Deborah J. and the Horns, Kimmy, George Leiter, Linda Aguirre, August Bacchanas, Lawrence Riley, Vicky Washington, Deborah Hamilton, DJ Baldwin, Edward Jerome Maurice, Reverend Carlton, Joe Ann from Los Angeles, California, Reverend Carlton. If you're just signing in, go ahead and subscribe from that Substack thing. You can so that you have us and you can get notifications anytime you want. I got to restart this thing because for some reason I don't see the video on the cell phone for the Substack stuff. Let's redo it. Pero ahí está. All right. Welcome aboard as well. We have in the house, I'm looking, Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. We also have in the house Joanne from Los Angeles, California. We have Lee the Bearcat from Austin, Texas. We have Bruce Pollard. It's from from Kingwood, Texas. Anyway, folks, Joe says it was confusing because you said early risers. No. That was my mistake. Hey, Walter Rain is with us as well. Hi. ¿Cómo estás, mi amigo? We had a great live that we did with Walter. Walter, check it out if you get a chance. Anyway, we got a lot to talk about today. But I'm going to start with Michael Rudden says CNN Trump appointed judge says President use of Aliens Enemies Act is unlawful. Of course it is. In first, because we don't have a war of its ruling. U.S. District Judge Fernando Rodriguez of the Southern District of Texas said Trump has unlawfully invoked the sweeping 18th century wartime authority to speed up some deportations. His decision means, what does his decision mean again? Trump cannot rely on that to get his dirty work done. No, he cannot depend on that. Hola, Sophie Moreau, la presidenta de HPJC. So you guys can read that one on your own. Reverend Carlton says, hola y bienvenido de Canadá. Oh, you're in Canada, huh? Está bien, pues. I love that. All right. Paul Fleming says judicial Republicans want to spend $1.3 billion on hiring lawyers, $250 million on new cars, $858 million for bonuses, nearly 20 times the national average, since they will claim to be all about cutting waste. I offer to doge their budget for them. I know, right? Yeah, you should. Lita Bearcat says, who said this? Let the people keep a lot more of their hard-earned dollar. You get taxed on what you earn, you get taxed on what you buy, and you get taxed on what you own. And for that tax, it's not like that tax is not doing something for you. Look, we make a pact when we created a society. And that society is that if we want to have roads and buildings and things that cost a lot, we pay for it. You make a little bit of money, you pay a little bit for it. You make a lot of money, you pay a lot for it. This thing that somehow we have some innate ownership of an economic system or innate ownership of money is an indoctrination system that has driven us for a long time in order to create separation among people. That's all it is. But I mean, the fact that a person can get $1 billion, I want you to tell me how they did that. I want to tell you how they did that. It's impossible. It's impossible. Welcome aboard. Not so late today. No, Bruce, you're actually on time today, my brother. Bruce Bennett. Hello from Champlain, New York. Man, well, actually, I've never been to Champlain, New York, but I've been to the Hudson Valley, which is so beautiful up north with the forest. And I did some camping out there. It was beautiful out there, man. Beautiful. Welcome aboard, Eric Hayes from Tascasita, Kingwood, Lee Grant from Montgomery County. Thank you guys for being here. All right. You even get taxed when you die, as you should, right? Of course. All right, tax is not a bad thing if used correctly. I want you guys to see something. If this doesn't make you want to throw up, we all know who Donald Trump is. We all know the flawed character that he is. We also know that every single person on his cabinet, I repeat, every single person on Donald Trump's cabinet has a larger intellect, is much more intelligent than Donald Trump. Yet to watch them grovel over him is sickening. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Mr. President, the last 4 years, the world experienced a total lack of zero leadership under Biden, and then we've had 100 days of your leadership with respect, with strength.
Sir, it's been a momentous 100 days with you at the helm, and I view this 100 days as setting the table for peace deals, trade deals, tax deals. So the next 100 days will be harvesting. You've created negotiating leverage and leadership that are going to yield remarkable results.
The reason the media attacks this administration as chaotic is because the president is solving the problems the American people set about to solve. He's actually doing the things that he promised that he would do. And Mr. President, it's been an honor to be a part of it for the past 100 days.
President, your first 100 days has far exceeded that of any other presidency in this country, ever. Never seen anything like it. Thank you.
I think this could be the greatest administration since the founding of the country.
Everybody I've met, whether it's in a coal mine or at the border, law enforcement, the one thing they say on those trips is, please thank President Trump from all of us.
Mr. President, thank you for the honor to be able to serve alongside you, for you, and alongside all these excellent people.
Now, Marco Rubio, the guy that doesn't know how to drink water, the guy who Donald Trump said his wife was ugly. Was that Marco Rubio or no? I think the wife ugly one was. I think that was Marco Rubio. Little Marco, the guy that Donald Trump embarrassed, right? Ted Cruz was the one with the ugly wife, is what Donald Trump said. But Marco Rubio, little Marco, he made a fool out of little Marco. Now Marco is singing his praises. We all know that Donald Trump is dumb. We all know that Donald Trump doesn't even know what a tariff really is. But we sing praises unto him. We also know that Donald Trump knows nothing about economics. We also know that look, we are asked to follow a person who has bankrupted 6 companies. What within what he does make one believe that he should be followed? And the other video that I'm going to play is going to have a part in giving that rationale. But here's the deal. That the rest of the world, I repeat, that the rest of the world is allowing Donald Trump unabatedly to crash not only the United States economy, but the world's economy, shows a level of timidity that is hard to fathom. And what this means is the following. The timidity is caused by this. The timidity has its genesis solely in MAGA still having control of the Republican Party. It's amazing how, they said a revolution only needs 3% of the people before it actually can take mass, right? That's all it needs. If 3% of the people start to really rage against your government, at that point, the government is at risk of collapse. And right now, we are not at that 3% level. We have a lot of people activated right now, but we're not at that 3% level yet. Likewise, MAGA has enough power on these, because we're a gerrymandered society, on these particular politicians that have them fearing going up against what they know is wrong. So these guys should all be considered not only timid, but also traitors, because they are willing to let the country go down the drain, the world's economy hit the brakes, because they're fearful that if they go up against Trump, Trump will call them out and they'll lose their seat, or maybe one of their right wingers will pop a cap in them or something. I understand what's going on here. Reverend Carlton, thank you for subscribing, my dear friend. Thank you for subscribing. And he's in from Canada. All right. I know you're gonna throw up. I know seeing that makes you want to throw up. So folks, we gotta get real here. But it is deeper. I want to show you, and this is a bit of a longer video, but I want you to listen to the video in detail. Not only from my narrative, but from the narrative of the Republican pundit on this video. I think it is very, very important. And I have to reboot I've got to reboot my, what is it, Substack phone, because I think it is having some issues. But let's go ahead and play that video, and then we'll take it on the other side. Lawrence O'Donnell did a piece last night. It was longer than normal, so what I did is I cut it with quite a few pieces out of it. But the idea is that he brought on a CEO who made a prescient statement, and that was, tariffs are not medicine. What we have, the way it's implemented, is poison. He didn't. I'm paraphrasing a bit what he said, but you could see the breakdown of what's going to happen to mostly small businesses who bring a lot of material in from countries overseas, from countries around the world. Look, let's be clear. There are reasons to have tariffs, but when one has tariffs, it has to be done in a coordinated manner, and it has to be done with a purpose, not to stop trading and efficiencies, but to guard against what happened, let's say during the pandemic, and that can be done. But what Donald Trump is doing shows, first of all, why every business that he's gone into pretty much went bankrupt, because he has no ability to plan, no ability to think, no ability to see through the different degrees of freedom that any business person has to have. And because of that, and because of the timidity of not just the Republican Party, but of countries all around the world, he is likely to bring down the world's economy if different countries don't develop a spine, as China is doing right now. China so far is not going to budge, but I tell you what, if other countries decide to play hardball, and as China is doing, meaning restructuring where it buys its stuff from, opening new markets for other countries by using also the tariff methodologies to get some sort of preferential treatment for these countries. A whole lot that can be done. After all, we are only about 4% of the population, and we may be about 20% of consumption. But you know what? All of that can be mitigated. But I want you to listen to Lawrence's piece, and then we'll take it on the other side.
In Donald Trump's deranged riffing today about two dolls is that all of the chaos landing on us from the Trump tariffs was never anticipated by Donald Trump because he does not understand how tariffs work. I thought Donald Trump was lying every day of the presidential campaign when he said China would pay his tariffs. I thought Donald Trump was at least smart enough to know that tariffs imposed by the United States are paid only in the United States when those goods from foreign countries arrive in the United States. The tariff is paid right on the dock by the companies like Best Buy or General Motors that import those products. The Wall Street Journal wisely in its editorials calls tariffs border taxes because that's exactly what they are. They are sales taxes imposed on Americans at the border, at the port of entry into this country where those goods arrive. The biggest port of entry for products from China is the port of Los Angeles. Shipping is dropping dramatically in the port of Los Angeles, and so longshoremen and truck drivers, who are the very first American workers to touch those goods as they arrive in the United States, then move through the United States, are facing the possibility of massive job losses thanks to Donald Trump's tariffs. And they might only be able to afford $2 under the Christmas tree this year, thanks to Donald Trump. There's no way to survive this. That's what Rick Woldenberg said today on MSNBC in an interview with Chris Jensen, where he explained what Donald Trump's tariffs are doing to his company and the 500 people who now have jobs in that company, but whose jobs are now threatened by Donald Trump.
Our company makes educational products. We sell into schools and we sell into homes. And there's a lot of people who depend on what we do. So obviously frustrating that he basically says what happens to us and the 500 people that work in our company is no concern of his. I can tell you that the stock market is going down, in my opinion, because only one thing has changed, and that's these tariffs. The economy was booming when he came in, and he hit us with tariffs. We are responding to the incentives that he's given us. His first tariff at 10% was a big problem for us, and we immediately began canceling events and cutting our spending. It's now gone up into the stratosphere. It's 2.5 times what he said in the campaign would be the highest tariff he would put out. There's no way to survive this. We're in the most competitive market in the world. And I'd like to say one other thing. He said, we had to take our medicine. We're not taking medicine here. We're taking poison. This is going to kill these businesses. I'm one of 300,000 businesses in many industries that are similarly situated and similarly affected. We're not a rounding error. You can talk to any of our employees and ask them.
We're not taking medicine here. We're taking poison. This is going to kill businesses. Voters know now that that is true. This is poison. It's going to kill businesses, kill jobs. And so tonight, Donald Trump has lost the support of the voters who made him president, not the hardcore 25 or 30% who think Donald Trump is some sort of religious figure who they are devoted to. There's probably nothing that Donald Trump could ever do to lose them, no matter what's under their Christmas tree. But weeks ago, Donald Trump lost that 3 or 4% of voters who made him president in the final days of voting and making their decision to vote. And now he is the most unpopular president on the 100th day of his presidency since the invention of polling, and possibly the most concentrated. Negative opinions and feelings about Donald Trump are held by business leaders, including Republican business leaders. A new poll shows that 84% of business leaders say they are very or somewhat concerned about the impact of the current political and legal climate on their businesses. In that poll, 81% of Republican business leaders said they are very or somewhat concerned about the impact of the current political and legal climate on their businesses. When Donald Trump decided to get into the business of selling his strangely enormous neckties in bright garish colors, he had those neckties made in China. And the Trump golf carts, where Donald Trump appears to spend as much time as he does sitting in the Oval Office, those golf carts are some of the most international products in the world. CNBC reports while both Club Car and E-Z-Go assemble their golf carts in the United States, they source their components from China, Taiwan, India, Malaysia, Turkey, and Europe, among other countries. No matter how long Donald Trump clings to his tariff madness that is separating him from voters and making congressional Republicans vulnerable in the next election, and no matter how long Donald Trump plays golf, he will never in his lifetime ride in a golf cart made with all American parts. That will not happen in Donald Trump's lifetime. The Wall Street Journal editorial board was very disappointed that Jeff Bezos assured Donald Trump in a panicked phone call made by Donald Trump that Amazon will never reveal to customers how much the Trump tariffs are adding to the prices they will pay and already are paying on Amazon. The Wall Street Journal editorial board said, quote, "The public could have used Amazon's price transparency. Tariffs are taxes, and it's helpful to know how policy choices affect final prices. Some shoppers might say the additional cost is worth it to support Mr. Trump's policy, but there's no denying that they're paying, and everyone is better off knowing how much. Like taxes, tariffs often add a precise dollar figure to a sticker price. Voters who pay little attention to the macroeconomy will notice a direct markup on items they buy."
Now, yeah, Lawrence nails it. The CEO nails it. And the only solution we have, and the thing about it is this: the damage to the economy is already there. All those containers that are 2 months behind, restructuring to get all those orders back into process, all those cancel orders that have to be placed back into the supply chain line, that cannot come on. That will not come on very soon, because there's going to have to be a lot of retooling. There's going to have to be a lot of ships placed in the right places to bring these containers. What Donald Trump did was a mess on the world's economy. And the fragility, or I should say the timidity with which not only the world, but the Republican Party has responded to the chaos that he's creating, is a factor in why it will be that much more difficult to recover from this disaster. Exactly right. Exactly right. But let me tell you something else. Reverend Carlton says, we have many more people here in Canada working to bring Trump down. We will collapse the tourism industry. It's happening. We feel for the suffering there, but this is self-defense. I agree with you. We can't argue with that. We just can't argue with that. Look, we are at a flex point right now. A lot of people say a turning point. I think it's more like a flex point, that the average American citizen have to get busy. Hey, Harry is in the house. Welcome, Harry. Let me see here. I want to get back to the scroll. Egberto, the 50501 and the Hands Off 2025 protest had between 3 to 5 million. That 3% requires about 10 million, and that is correct. And I don't think 10 million is going to be hard to get as things get really, really bad, because they are about to get really, really bad. And there's a reason why they're going to get really, really bad. And by the way, folks, that's why we have to have clear thinking folks out there, because I found there's a meme today, not a meme, but a TikTok that I saw today with a guy from England, from the Great Britain, that explains what Trump is doing, which is something they've done that have cratered their economy. We are just doing it on steroids. Okay. All right. Continuing. We have just now Kilmer Abrigo Garcia wife Jennifer Vasquez speaks at a May Day rally in DC. It has 50 days of pain and suffering, 50 days of uncertainty, as we finally saw the proof that Kilmer was alive. My children and I had to watch Trump and Bukele's administration laugh at our pain. These guys have no heart. They have no soul. But then again, we knew that, didn't we? We knew that. All right, let's see what else I got to read from you guys. And by the way, the phones are open. I have another video to show, however, but the phones are open. Harry says, hello, Egberto. What is your opinion on hater journalist Megyn Kelly and Bill O'Reilly and Stephen A. Smith, sports journalist, being asked to run for president in 2027, 2028? Look, first of all, Smith is a clown. Smith is a clown. Okay, Harry, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, my friend, well, what I wanted to, you acknowledged that I was in the chat. I was hoping you would read what I wrote, what I put there. So I guess I'll just ask you up front. What is your opinion about Megyn Kelly, who the hater journalist who's talking up Donald Trump? Because people like yourself, a lot of the people are telling the truth about what Donald Trump has been doing in his first 100 days, and Bill O'Reilly. And then the other thing I wanted to ask you is Stephen A. Smith. A lot of people are asking him to run for president in 2027. He was on George Stephanopoulos and asked about that a few weeks ago. I just want to know what
Yeah,
your
I saw.
opinion was on all those things.
Okay, let me first tell you, those two journalists, they've already sold their souls, so there's nothing that either O'Reilly has to say or Megyn Kelly that should ever be taken seriously. They're not journalists, they're
Right.
propagandists, nothing more. So, I mean, I
Yes.
think that answers that statement. With regards to Smith, Smith is a clown. First of all, the problem the problem is that we can't tell Smith not to run, right? After America has
No, we can't.
elected, no, but here's what I mean though. After you've elected somebody like Donald Trump, what you've done is open the door so that and I say this with respect, but so that the stupidest person can run. And that is where we put Mr. Smith. Okay? Mr. Smith doesn't know much about anything. And
Yeah.
but then again, we can't stop him. We can't use that as a criticism against him being the president because again, Donald Trump was president. And there's not anybody
Right.
who knows less than Donald Trump. So
Right.
it's a
Right.
so what we have to do, brother Harry, is the following. As Americans,
That's
we
right.
have as a country, we have lost credibility. It was okay that we made a mistake out of frustration when Donald Trump got elected the first time. The second time that he got
That's right.
elected tells us something about our own character. And what it says is that we have a lot of atoning to do. What it says is that we
Yep.
are a flawed people, and that
Yep.
we have a lot of that the world should never trust us again until we have proven ourselves through several election cycles.
Yep.
But right now,
Yep.
only a foolish country will trust us because again, we have lost
Yep.
we have lost what it meant to be an American. First of all, we have always disregarded treaties, but at least we gave the semblance of wanted to adhere to treaties. We no longer even give a semblance. Donald Trump signs a treaty, the
Yeah.
UMCA, and immediately goes against
Yeah.
it. And again, he signs. We sign a treaty with Iran, and he comes, we blow it up. We sign a Paris Accords, we blow nothing again.
Right.
Nobody should trust America when it comes to anything we sign. We have lost the trust, and it'll probably take 50 years for us to recover the trust because our word
Yeah, from the
means
foreign country. Yeah.
absolutely nothing. Right. Our word means
Yep.
nothing. If somebody gets mad at, if we get mad at somebody, we have no problem blowing them up. So again,
Yep.
we have to think when we are talking about other countries and trust, and when we are talking about all these things, we have to remember who we are, and we have to re-earn all the trust that we've lost all along. Anyway, Harry, gotta move on. Anything else
Yep.
you want to say real quick before we
Okay.
move on?
Okay. Well, I was gonna say tomorrow morning because I talked to Howard this morning after your show because I had I couldn't talk long. I'm gonna ask you more about what you were talking about with the ICE and the police breaking in with Donald Trump's ICE thugs into people's homes because he has given the green light. I don't care if you're an American citizen
I am
or
going to show that,
undocumented person. Get those.
Harry, I'm going to
I'm
show
gonna
that
talk more
video
about that
in the morning.
tomorrow.
Right. I'll show that video in
Okay.
the morning, but
Yeah,
thank you
you'll
so
get a
kindly
call
for
from me.
calling in.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
All right,
Peace. All right, folks. That was Harry, one of our morning callers as well. Egberto, Stephen A. Smith knows sports, but I can say that knowledge will be useful. I can't say that knowledge would be useful in politics. We've already got enough team politics as it is. Yeah, but the other problem with Smith is he doesn't know how to critically think. He's not a critical thinker, and by God, we now need critical thinkers in office. We need critical thinkers in office. Let's see what else we've got here. E2247 says, see Malcolm Nance message of 30 April 2025. I got a email. I am on his, I subscribe to his newsletter. I saw that come across, but I hadn't read it yet. But thank you for bringing that up, E2247. What else have we got that I haven't read? NPR, two majority black cities in Alabama now have black representation in Congress after court ordered redistricting. Thank you for that, Paul Fleming. And we also have Paul Fleming pointing out that remember when Letitia James had the power to investigate Trump tariff related stock market manipulation and insider trading? It's happening. James just confirmed an investigation has been opened. Yeah, they're trying to shut her up by claiming she did some sort of a mortgage fraud. It is funny. Uju M just joined us. Uju, I don't know. You are now a Politics Done Right star. When you called in the morning show, we took that clip, the Nigerian clip. If you're hearing me, give us a push the heart. We extracted that clip that you did with your Nigerian history. I mean, that made waves. A lot of people really enjoyed that story that you told us on the morning show. Reverend Carlton says that is true. The USA has become the world and largest school shooting. And why are we away? Look, again, you have to earn. You know, we like to talk about being exceptional, right? I would like. There is a skit on TV. I don't remember the name of the program that said that a girl got up and said, "Why are we exceptional?" or something like that, and the professor gave a litany of things to say. Let's be honest. We're not exceptional. We are the murder capital of the world. We are not exceptional. Our kids are not doing as good in school. We're not exceptional. I mean, and he goes through the litany of these things. For one to get better, for one to improve who they are, you have to be able to tell yourself the truth. And you can only improve on yourself after having told yourself the truth about your deficiencies, your accolades, etc. Michael Randin says, Egberto, the lost trust will return either after Trump is outed or ages out of office. I don't think Trump will make it all 4 years. I don't know, but the thing about it is, and here's what I'm saying, Michael Rudnin, you can't rebuild trust. The opportunity that we had to rebuild trust quickly was squandered. In other words, when we elected Donald Trump, followed by Biden, and Biden got a lot of policy through, not enough, but a lot. People thought, well, maybe we have atoned, we made a mistake, it's an aberration. So recovering is okay. Coming back to what America was is okay because the rest of the world would see it as well. America just had a blip, but the who America really is shining through again. But the fact that Donald Trump not only got elected again, but this time it was not a fluke of the Electoral College. This time he won the plurality of the vote, not the majority, but he won the plurality of the vote. He won with a higher rate than did Clinton, a very substantive president. When that happens, folks have to give a second look. And what you're going to see over the next few years is Canada is no longer going to have 80% of its exports going to the United States. They are going to diversify. And it makes sense for them to do just that. They will diversify. Likewise, we won't see China buying all the things that they buy from us. They will diversify as well. And what that means is as these other countries buy from among themselves, our value falls. The value of the dollar falls. As then, because we're still a country that refused to tax as we should, and we borrow and borrow and borrow, we will pay more for that because, again, China, Japan, the EU, and all these folks holding our bonds, if they ever decide to not, they will never unload it completely because that would be suicide. But if they ever start to unload them slowly, we are in trouble because the interest rates continue to go up. All right, folks, I have one more video that I want to play, but beforehand, I think we need to restart this other program here. All right. I want you to listen to the undertones in this particular video because it's important. Let's go ahead and do that now, and then we'll take it on the other side. Did anybody see the cabinet meeting yesterday? The sycophancy, how each of these cabinet members were worshiping Donald Trump and praising Donald Trump like he was the supreme leader of Korea or one of these other dictators. I mean, it was ridiculous watching how they sat there and just, there's a piece that I'm going to play that piece at another time where MSNBC made a different clips of these guys just worshiping Donald Trump. But I mean, there's a piece that I'm going to play after this that's important, because what they point out is that the reason the sycophancy works in the boardroom, in the cabinet room, is because it has to. And why does it have to? Because, again, the whole right-wing media machine is so well oiled. Well, I tell you what, why don't you listen to this segment and then we'll take it on the other side.
That entire meeting, I don't know if I want to say it was un-American, but you cannot run a successful government, a successful company, a successful family if the way an organization runs is that you have to show ultimate praise and worship of the leader. Like, you can't run that. Like, that is how dictatorships operate.
You know, I used to have a saying, right? You're really in trouble if you're lying to yourself and believing it. This is a group of people you got to ask that question about. They're in such a collective state of not just puffery of Trump, but it's almost like a group think, like if we just say it over and over again, maybe it'll be true. And, watching the kind of cast that Trump has assembled, what are they there for? They're there because he sees selling the American people as the highest form, not smart, qualified governance, right? He's got TV personalities there, salesmen like Howard Lutnick there, and they're there to puff up Trump, and they're there to puff up whatever version of reality he's selling to the American people on any given day. It's pretty amazing stuff to hear. But remember, what they're playing to is the audience of one. They don't really care that you didn't like their cabinet meeting. They're happy if Donald Trump is happy.
Look, I mean, there's an entire ecosystem, right, that runs 24/7, 365 that will repeat all of what we just heard as fact, not as supposition, not as...
This is so important.
Right? Like, all right, we always talk about Fox News. Fox is the tip of the iceberg.
This is a great point.
This is dozens and dozens of podcasts and video shows, and all of it gets chopped up and clipped up and sent around TikTok and Twitter and Instagram and everything else. This is the one thing that I think our friends on the left don't understand. Like, they communicate to voters 8 weeks out of every 2 years. The right, MAGA, never stops. It is a freight train that goes, and when it needs more money or it needs more effort or it needs more Trump, they give it to it. It never, ever stops. So his people are hearing what they want him to, what he wants them to hear all the time. There's no break. And when reality does set in, now you have this massive psychological problem for them. Am I going to believe him, what he's always been telling me, or am I going to believe what my eyes are showing me? And that's a very difficult thing. And most of them are going to believe him, because to believe your own eyes is to understand, to admit to yourself that you've been lied to all these years.
So yeah, it turns out that there's a lot that the left wing needs to learn, not to create a sycophancy, not to fool its people, not to change its values, but in effect to give the American folk truthful information, repeat in a repetitive manner, so that it sticks. And that's what they've learned. They've learned so much, and as the pundit said there, they have gotten so much bad information that when it finally reaches, the truth finally reached them, they can't accept it, because they would have to come to the conclusion, how could we have been fooled for so long? Well, we give them a place to land. We go ahead and tell the truth. We go ahead and point it out and let them know it's okay that you had been fooled before. We have a place for you, and it's that building unity that's going to take to get rid of this fascist establishment that's getting put together right now in the United States. We don't have a lot of time, but we have a lot of people ready to work, and that is what we got to do. And that is what we've got to do. Anyway, folks, the last subject of the day is an article, the rag that you know what? Before I do that, Michael Rudnin found that piece, and I want to play that piece. I think it's okay for me to play that piece. It's from the newsroom, and I think it's an important piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the screen and play that piece. Let's see if I can do that. Put that here. Here we go.
Next question. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm a sophomore, and this is for all three of you. Can you say in one sentence or less what, you know what I mean? Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Diversity and opportunity.
Lewis?
Freedom and freedom. So let's keep it that way.
Will?
The New York Jets.
No, I'm going to hold you to an answer on that. What makes America the greatest country in the world?
Well, Lewis and Sharon said it. Diversity and opportunity, and freedom and freedom.
I'm not letting you go back to the airport without answering the question.
Well, our Constitution is a masterpiece. James Madison was a genius. The Declaration of Independence is, for me, the single greatest piece of American writing. You don't look satisfied.
One's a set of laws and the other's a declaration of war. I want a human moment from you. What about the people? Why is America
not the greatest country in the world, Professor? That's my answer.
You're saying
yes.
Let's talk about...
Fine. Sharon, the NEA is a loser. Yeah, it accounts for a penny out of her paycheck, but he gets to hit you with it anytime he wants. It doesn't cost money. It costs votes. It costs airtime and column inches. You know why people don't like liberals? Because they lose. If liberals are so fucking smart, how come they lose so goddamn always? Hey. And with a straight face, you're going to tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom? Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Australia, Belgium has freedom. So 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom. All right. And yeah, you, sorority girl, just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there's some things you should know. And one of them is there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yosemite? Sure used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws, struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouths were, and we never beat our chest. We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured diseases, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy. We reached for the stars, acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy. We were able to be all these things and do all these things because we were informed by great men who were revered. First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. America is not the greatest country in the world anymore. Enough?
Now
let's move on to the next question.
The very first time that I saw that, it was riveting. It was riveting. But there's another caveat. Even what he's saying there, right? It's amazing the level of gradation of goodness, etc. Because when he says, "Yeah, but we sure was," but it would have been good for him to say, "But we're still in the stage where we need to atone for much of what we've done." But we have these stopping points that we go through. But anyhow, as far as more material is concerned, I think I played all the videos that I wanted to play. I said I was going to talk a little bit about. Let me bring up my Daily Kos article, because in there I can point out that we want to talk about today being May Day, and there's something to talk about May Day. And you know what that is? It's a terrible May Day story. And here it is, Uncommon Dreams, that I want to put out there. And let me put that in the sidewall now. It goes like this. Grotesque Spectacle. On May Day, CEO pay up 50% since 2019 compared to 0.9% for workers. As people worldwide fill the streets Thursday to celebrate International Workers' Day and mobilize against attacks on the working class, a new analysis showed that average global CEO pay has surged 50% since 2019. That's global. In America, it's even worse. 56 times more than the pay of ordinary employees. The Oxfam National Analysis examined figures from nearly 2,000 corporations and 35 countries where CEOs were paid more than $1 million on average last year, including bonuses and stock options. Across those companies, the average pay of chief executives reached $4.3 million in 2024, from $2.9 million 5 years earlier. Wow, what a raise. And when we ask for 5%, they go berserk. By contrast, average worker pay in those 35 nations rose just 0.9%. Year after year, we see the same grotesque spectacle. CEO pay explodes while workers' wages barely budge. Oxfam's executive director said this isn't a glitch, it's a system. It's the system working exactly as designed, funneling wealth ever upwards while millions of working people struggle to afford rent. But you know whose fault it is? Guess whose fault it is? It is our fault. We have people in this chat right now supporting the plutocracy. We have people in this chat right now. Everything Donald Trump does or they say they believe, when the policies he support, when the policies neoliberal Democrats support, you're right on board. And as we support guys like Bernie or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Ilhan Omar and others that really believe in equity, we demean them, we put them down, we talk about them being too lefty or where is the money going to come from? The money is there. Money is fungible. It's there. According to the Oxfam, global billionaires pocketed over $206 billion in new wealth over the last year, $23,500 an hour. Wow. Luke Triangle, General Secretary of International Trade Union Confederation, said in a statement that the outrageous pay inequality between CEOs and workers confirms that we lack democracy where it is needed most, at work. And that's what I've said all the time. Capitalism is not democracy. Capitalism is closer to fascism than it is to democracy. Or rather, is a support, because again, capitalism can exist in any form. Communist China is the second largest capitalist country in the world, bar none. And it has a communist government. America is the largest capitalist country, and it has a fascist government. And while we are talking now about we're moving into fascism, we've been a fascist country for a long time. We've just been a benevolent fascist country. But the oligarchy has always been in control. From the days of slavery, it's been in control. Slavery is capitalism. Antiseptic slavery is capitalism. You doubt it? What control do you have at your job site? Now, countries like Germany have tried to mitigate that by creating corporations that had to have a certain percentage of worker participation in decision making, etc. But as you see from the Oxfam report, we still have the same setup. Mike Cisak, I think I'm going to answer you in this way. The biggest problem is those people who are enslaved right now refuse to accept the state that they're in. Welcome, Mike Cisak. Because again, you are a consummate example of one of the reasons many of us have a problem getting ahead. Because people that are misinformed, ill-informed like you, my dear brother, hold us back because we have yet to reach the critical mass necessary to get rid of systems that oppress. AC Rodriguez says, as Professor Richard Wolff says, if democracy is so great, why do we not have it in the workplace? Exactly. 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 And that is what we have to work on. One of these days, and, in the case of CSEC and other guys that have enslaved themselves to the indoctrination of the corporatocracy, at some point in time, these guys are going to see the light. My biggest fear is what their reaction is going to be after it's been exposed to them. Egberto from E227, you valiantly try engaging MAGA persons to realistically engage in 50 minutes of PDR time, or the other 60% now. But we'll go to 70% as ones who keep saying, I am not political, or I don't know what's going on, or persons who will make a really big difference coming weeks. Actually, I think I've learned my lesson in that, and I really mean this, C2247. Enough of you have told me that we need to build. Yes, we need to convince MAGA of the truth, but we have to focus on the majority who already are there, but just needs direction on how to come out. I think a lot of my listeners have taught me that I need to change the balance. And I think if you watch the program over time, you have seen that the balance has actually changed. Okay, Mike Cisak, you have about 45 seconds.
Okay. So the difference between socialism run through the government and private enterprise, as far as the free market, is that I actually have a choice in the free market, whether to engage with a particular business or not. I don't have that choice when a government-run socialist system is put in place.
All right, that is actually, and I think you made your point. I think you made your point there, and that's a perfect point to make, and that's the indoctrination that I've spoken about. And so go ahead and hang up the phone, and I'm going to answer that, because that is a point that you've made often.
Think about it.
No. Go ahead, hang up the phone. Let me explain.
Indians,
brother, you got to hang up now because I got to end the show. All right, let me explain this, because that sounds plausible, but it is not. When you go for healthcare, you don't have a choice. When you go for energy, you don't have a choice. That's why I talk about a bifurcated economy. Where you have a choice, I believe you can have whatever economic system you want. But where you don't have a choice, that is when we, the government, we, the people, should come in. Anyway, I got to get out of here, folks. I love you all, including you, Mike Cisak. One of these days, you'll see the light. What I want to say, though, is please, those of you that are listening, if you are on the Substack app, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. Please hit that subscribe button now. Become a subscriber. And if you really want to help us get the job done, please become a paid subscriber. And that's not hard to do. Just go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. That is politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And let me go ahead and put that in the chat. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter gives you the ability to support us in such a manner that we can get more of this work done. We really cannot do this without you. When I say that, it's not hyperbole. When I say that we need your paid subscriptions, I mean, look, we are still not at a break even. And by the way, I'm putting that in the Substack chat as well. We're still not at break even to do all this work. And I think you're sure to see the amount of work that we do here to keep this thing going. So I ask you for your support. I ask you for your paid membership at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, so that we can continue doing this, so that we can expand our wings, flood the zone as we really, really need to. So anyway, I love you all. Got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES.
That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.